Hey guys, welcome back to Small Town Bassin. If you watched the last video of me prepping this hull after I tore everything out, getting ready to restore this thing, this is where I'm at. So I've got everything removed. All the glass where needed has been sanded, ground down a little bit, down to fresh resin and glass, so I can apply new glass and it'll bond well. This boat is getting a complete makeover, so let me give you some background on this boat. You can see a tunnel, right? So this is a tunnel hull. You got one on each side here, but it's also a modified pad V. So I've also got a V pad in the back. Not much of a V, more of just a flat pad, and it's about half the length of the hull, so the pad runs from the transom up to about here, about halfway up, and then it's just nose. But this is pretty much all that touches the water for the most part, even at slow cruising speeds. The boat is so light it'll nose up just from the weight of the motor. But anyway, so backstory, this is a 1988 Shadow 200 BT. It's a 20-foot long Mod V tunnel hull bass boat. Now, this hull is almost identical, almost, not completely, to a laser LTV. That's what they call the needle nose. It's like it was the prequel to an STV. And if any of you are familiar with the STV, that's a legit tunnel hull. Well, they have a pad too in the back, actually. But it's more of a tunnel hull than a mod pad V, anyway. So that's the story of the hull. Now, it's a Tennessee-made boat. The Shadow Boat Company was started by Jay Cox and some other folks kind of with him, but pretty much Jay Cox's company and design. And these were designed for nothing but really one thing, and that was to go fast. Yes, it is a bass boat, but for the most part, it's just a fast boat. But anyway, they were constructed poorly, so they used as cheap of materials as generally they could get away with. In the teardown of this thing, I found some original core material up there. The front triangles next to the tunnels were actually cored with cardboard. Blows my mind, man. I would never do that. I don't care how cheap I'm trying to build a boat. I'm not putting cardboard in one, but they did, and it was effective. It was light. So that's where we're at now. This is an extremely thin layup. Look at the glass, right? So there's nothing to it. It's less than an 1/8 inch thick from the top of the tunnel up, all the way up the sides of the boat. Here, it gets a little thicker, but I'd say it's about an 1/8, maybe a smidge more. The tunnels themselves feel thicker, but I think it's just heavier glass. This is the tunnels, the main hull, which they use 24-ounce woven roving. It's thick and strong, but that's about as thick as it gets. This thing is super light. I can pick it up with one hand. I can get in the back of the boat and reach my arm under the transom and lift the whole thing up off the trailer with one arm. It's super light. So anyway, this is what we did the other day. I'm going to go ahead and just show you the video of that here. We're going to just speed it up, and I'm going to show you the install of this BlueWater, COOSA BLUEWATER 26. It's the first transom board to go in. This thing was built with all wood, obviously, in 1988, so we're redoing the whole thing with nothing but lightweight composites. Going to be super strong, super fast, super nimble. It's going to be a really, really nice build when I'm done. But what I did is I stripped it down to the bare glass shell. Then I prepped, because it is so thin, I prepped where the transom is going with one layer of chopped strand, 1.5 ounces, 2 layers of 1708. And I went in 2 directions with the 1708. So super strong. This is super, super thick now. And I'm using laminating resin, so it's got some tack to it, but it's cured. You can see all my thick and putty here all the way around the transom. She's locked in there. And then thick and putty glued to my new layup right here in the back. It's getting strong. So this is the first layup, first transom board. I've got it sandwiched in with some 2x4s and plywood on the back. Let's see if I can show you. You can see that board there. So she's squeezed in good. Got six screws run through her across both these boards to really squeeze it in. But we did that, me and my buddy Tim. We did this yesterday. You can see it's glassed in the back too. I got it tabbed in with 1.5 ounces. Just for now, I'll be tabbing the whole thing in with 1708 before I lay the actual, put the layup on it. But I've got 2 more transom boards to go. So this is an ongoing project. This is just the hardest part. Getting the first one in and getting it in right. To me is key in a quality build. But if that first one ain't right, everything that follows after it ain't going to be right, or there's going to be a lot of work to follow to make it right. So this board's key, and we got her in. She's locked in, nice. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut another one this same size, except it's not going to go all the way to the sides of the boat. The original one didn't either. The original one, the second board stopped about right here at this 45 and went down, and the knees come off of it. Well, I'm going to go one step above. I'm taking the second 3/4 inch COOSA board, and I'm going to come down about halfway here, and then I'm going to taper down to the corner. And then the third one, I'm going to come to here, come straight down. Knees are going in, COOSA knees on both sides. They're going to come down and tie into the tunnel, and they're going to be tall gussets. I mean, they're going to really offer some support. The top cap allows for all that space to be occupied by these knees. I'll show you a clip of the original setup here. Then we're going to go with the center one also after a third COOSA board. So we'll have 1, 2 knees, third one in between, and that's basically the mounting plate for the motor. And then we're going to have a cross brace in between the mounting bolts. Third knee coming off the bottom of the cross brace down in here, which will be the stringer. The main stringer is a knee tying to the transom. I'm going to run the full length with a COOSA stringer. These knees are going to stop about right here, and then we're going to add 2 layers of 1708 in the 90s of the tunnels. Full length. We're going to add a lot of strength there by doing that. Now this boat didn't have stringers going down the sides of the tunnels, which makes it a little bit of a precarious situation if this is going to be a fishing boat also. I mean, that's all well and good if I'm running 800 foot at a time with no debris possibly in the water, but if it's going to be a fishing machine as well, it needs to be safe. So I'm gonna add glass rigidity to it, a little strength where it doesn't have it, where it never had it. And also on the gunnels of the boat there, where the 2 halves tie together, I'm running 1708 and chopped strand down it. I'm going to put a little thickness there. That way when I re-rivet these 2 halves together, put the cap on and lock them in, it has something really strong to grab to, because I mean this is nothing, man. I don't want it to come apart on me while I'm running down the river, you know what I mean? But at any rate, it'll be safe, it'll be strong, but it'll be light. Had 3/8 plywood everywhere, so I'm not doing that. We're going to go with 1/4 inch Nida-Core flooring, glassed on both sides. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, once you throw glass and resin to it, it's going to be just as heavy as plywood. No, because plywood has to be glassed in resin also. So think about it. I mean, we're really going to shed weight off. That's how I can get away with adding so much extra glass where it's needed, because tit for tat, take a few pounds here, add a few there. So not sure how much lighter it's really going to be than the original, which was 1,000 pounds or less. But we stand a good shot at lightening it up just a little bit using all these composite materials and adding strength. I mean, tons of strength to it. So it'll be stronger, possibly even lighter than it was. So it's going to be an all-around better boat than it ever was intended to be. And this will probably be the one we keep. It's a 20-footer. So with these motors I build, I don't have to worry about it being overpowered. It's rated for 235 horsepower in 1988. So today that would be a 250. So I could hang a 250 off the back. Coast Guard wouldn't have a problem with it. Anyway, enough of that jabber-jawing. Let's get into the transom install. I'm just going to mute it and play some music because me and Tim were trying to explain what we were doing. Had a buddy helping me, but the exhaust fan I had running, all that, it's just too much noise going on. So I'll just cut all that out and I'll just show you the install. How about that? Anyway, so that's where we are, guys. I really do appreciate your following along with this build. Share it with friends. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and leave a comment. Help me boost the algorithm for my channel a little bit and get this video shown to more people. My content is not the best. I admit that. I'm not capable of making the best, I don't think. But it is quality, and hopefully a lot of you could learn from my mistakes. So I'm not trying to teach you how to build a boat, but maybe you'll see what not to do in the process. So anyway, guys, appreciate you watching. On with the transom. So this is where Adam has tabbed his COOSA board to his fiberglass hole. Front end, this is chopped strand matting. You can see that it's tabbed in place. You can see the cabosil there as well. The cabosil was put on before the chopped strand matting to fill any voids from the COOSA to the fiberglass. And on the back side, Adam is fixing to
tab the rest of the transom together. This is the board that we use to draw the COOSA to the transom. And on the opposite end, of course, are 2x4s. And then cavasil coming out the top. The cavasil was also placed on the entire piece of the backside of this fiberglass.